Texas, your truck, and your road to success in the trucking industry. This is Trucking Business and Beyond, the show that puts the money where it belongs, back in your pocket.
Ready to connect. Click Connect to show now. You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-in Studio web interface. Audio recording is on.
Your money, your taxes, your truck, and your road to success in the trucking industry. This is Trucking Business and Beyond, the show that puts the money where it belongs, back in your pocket.
Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Monday, July 22nd. We are here live. We had a little bit of a false start there. I think my computer feels like I do this morning. It just didn't want to cooperate. Just as I went live, I lost all my audio. So we're back, and it is a Monday free-for-all today. I've got no guests, no co-host. Brent's on vacation, no themes. So it's a true free-for-all today. Anything you want to talk about. Looks like the calls are already starting to come in. I had a couple things, nothing major. So I think I'll probably get to calls. Just to let you know, it's going to happen this time. I attempted to take a vacation a couple weeks ago, and it didn't work out. This time I planned a little better. Everybody's been informed. barring any sort of emergency, I will start my vacation this Thursday when I get off the coaching call. So I'm off Friday, off all next week, and then off the following Monday. I took a couple extra days in there because I need it. And I've got a busy fall coming up. You know, I try not to travel during the summer at all. Right after Labor Day this year, I've got a trip down to Salt Lake City for a Tucker Carlson event that I'm kind of excited about. I got a VIP invitation to go to an event with Tucker and Glenn Beck, and while I'm down there, I'm going to be filming some stuff for a documentary with Cardio Miracle. So, and I'm going to drive to Salt Lake City because it's about 12 hours. And I'll go right through Boise. So I'm going to probably plan on spending some time at Truck Stop as well. Get as much done as I can. And then when I get back from that, I'm going to have a lot of work closing out and planting the fall garden. And then not long after that, I'll be heading to Nashville to spend some time at the NASTIC event this year. Looking forward to that as well. I'm not doing a keynote this year. I'll be doing breakout sessions and other stuff. Former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, is one of the keynote speakers. I believe they have another, though. But I'm sure I'll be busy. So I've got a lot going on. I need to get some vacation time in, and there's about 1 million things to do over at the garden right now. So I am looking forward to next week. I've got a busy week this week, though. I've got something going on every day this week. So today we will be launching our new X Space. You should be able to listen to that on the app today. If you want to join in on that, you have to be on X itself, in the space. But if you just want to listen, that should be on the app today. When we do that, it'll be noon Pacific time, so 3 o'clock. Let me go through the rest of the week, and then I'll come back and explain the space. So tomorrow I will have the show in the CMC. Wednesday, we've got a big launch, a new vendor that I'm very excited about. We carry a lot of seafood, and we always have. And we had a great seafood partner early on, really high quality tuna, mackerel, salmon in cans, all very sustainable. And that vendor got bought, and the new owners decided they didn't want to wholesale to us anymore, so we had to scramble. We found Patagonia, which is an awesome partner. But one of the companies we've been trying to partner with for quite some time is Wild Planet. Wild Planet has some pretty cool products, and Lisa made that happen. It's taken some time. I think she started this process at the big food show, which that was back in March, if I remember right. That was before I left for Matt's. So she's been working on this process for a while. We're launching that on Wednesday, so we'll tell you more about that. Thursday, I will have the show and coaching. So got a lot going on in the next 4 days, but then I get to take a break, so I'm going to push through. Now, the space today, let me explain this to you. I wanted this space to be different than anything I do on the show. Otherwise, why not just do it on the show? The space is different because we reach a different audience. It's more like a giant conference call where we could have multiple speakers in at the same time. So I spent some time trying to figure out what would be the best use. If I'm going to do, I'm going to say an hour to 2 hours. I really need to make sure the spaces have an ending time, or I end up spending hours on them sometimes. So probably somewhere between an hour and 2 hours is what this space will be. And there is a very specific theme to it. And if this theme doesn't work, then I'm just going to drop the show. This is an experiment. We'll see if it works or not. The point of this, I'm calling it the Fight Club, and it's the tagline is, we debate anything. And I mean it. We will debate anything. If you want to debate whether pineapple should be on pizza or not, we'll do it. If you want to debate your favorite dog breed, we'll do it. We'll certainly debate the important stuff. Trucking, money, health. Lots of, probably could get lots of good debates going there. But here's the thing. It's not as much about the information and debating topics as it is just trying to figure out a better way to talk to each other when we disagree. I don't even want to use the word debate or fight or argue or just, it used to be that we could talk about things without screaming at each other. The country's become so divided, and we just seem to be angry. And I am part of this. I do the same thing. If somebody disagrees with me on the air, at some point I start talking over them. I get it. That's why I'm going to do this. This is about the debate itself more than it is about the topic. So I've, on debates, they always have the rules, and I've watched some, and I thought, how can we make this better? How can we make it so we're not just screaming the same talking points over and over and over? That's what we tend to do. We get in that mode. You're trying to make your point. The other person's trying to make their point, and you start to repeat yourself and talk over each other. And then worst case, and I've certainly had this happen, it devolves into name calling and personal attacks. At that point, there's no good that will come out of those discussions anymore. I have completely stopped debating people on social media. I make my post, I make my comments, I leave comments open. Anybody can say anything they want on my discussions. I just don't respond to them anymore. Yeah, and it's because it is the worst form of debate ever, is debating on social media in posts and text. It's just awful. And yet, a lot of people spend an awful lot of time doing it. I used to. I haven't been doing it for quite some time. Now I have people angry at me just because I won't respond no matter what they say. Because there are certain people that, I get it, they just want to fight. And I don't want to fight anymore. But I do want to discuss topics. I think we all learn. So I've got some rules for this, but I really want to have fun with this. My only hesitation as to whether this is going to work or not is, can we get enough people to debate? And this isn't just debating me. In fact, I have a format so it isn't just debating me. Here's how it's going to work. Now, the first one today, I will be one of the participants, just to get us started. I picked a topic, but if nobody wants to debate me on this, we'll pick another topic and we'll move on. So my topic today, I've seen a lot of people in trucking who believe we should abolish the Motor Carrier Act of 1980 and go back to a financially regulated market. And I would like to debate that, because I take the other side that there's no way we should ever go back to that. Here's how it works. 5 questions each and 5 minutes for each question, if you need 5 minutes. So far, I don't believe we've played around with this a little bit. Nobody's gone anywhere near 5 minutes, but I'm going to leave it there just in case. You really aren't supposed to, I'm going to say that because people are going to do it anyway. You are not supposed to make statements or try to make your point. When it's your turn, you have to ask the other person a question. They get 5 minutes to answer that question. Now, if they answer the question and then they want to go on and make points because they have time left, they can. And then when they are done with their 5 minutes, or whenever they decide they're done, they ask the other person a question. That's the format. And once the question is asked, everybody else's mics are turned off. That's one of the reasons we're doing it in a space. It's easy to get a lot of people in there and mute people and turn off mics so there isn't talking and screaming over each other. And you just have to answer questions. Or you can make your point, but the goal here is to be able to answer the questions. And at the end of the 5 questions each going back and forth, the audience, everybody else in the space, will vote. Now, eventually, if this works out, I've already talked to the programmers, if this works out and we ever get our broadcast app done, we may build some of these features into that app and make this work even better. But we need to see if this is going to work at all or not. Now, if you think about that format, if everybody used their 5 minutes, that would be 10 5-minute sessions, which means we've blown through an hour. Now, once we decide the winner gets to pick the next topic and they move on to the next round. So this isn't about just people coming on and debating me. Now, if I win that round, then I'll move on to the next round. If somebody else wins, they move on to the next round. And you can always jump back in and challenge again. And I fully expect that we may have to tweak some of these rules. We've tried a couple practice sessions and just goofed around. And I think this could work, and I think it could be interesting. So we're going to give that a try today. All right. I had some other things, but I see the calls are starting to pile up on me, so we are going to get to them. Let's go to Ohio to get started. Tiffany, welcome.
Hi.
What can I help you with today?
Thanks for taking one, because I'm having some issues with my blood sugar dropping, and so I don't know where to start really, but I'll go back. I was diagnosed as a child with insulin resistance, and so I've been insulin resistant for like the last 30 years now, and I had 2 years ago had weight loss surgery, which was the biggest mistake of my life. And since then, now I'm having issues with my blood. I can't get my blood sugar to stay up. Like this morning, even after eating breakfast, my blood sugar dropped to 58.
What did you eat for breakfast?
Well, this morning I had some cereal for breakfast. But normally I would have I had milk. Normally I would have some meat for breakfast, though.
Well,
normally I wouldn't have cereal.
Why cereal this morning, then?
I was at a hotel,
Okay.
and that was my only option.
Okay. Well, no, there's another option. There's always another option, and that is don't eat. Now, let me ask you this, because I think I know the answer to this, but what diabetic medications are you on?
I don't take any diabetic medications.
You don't? Have you ever?
No. I was on metformin for a while. Long time.
What happened?
But they took me off of that.
Why?
They took me off of that, telling me that I wasn't insulin resistant.
Oh, you're starting to break up. I hope we can hold this call, because I've got some questions and some advice. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. So I kind of want to go back through the history. You said you were diagnosed as insulin resistant as a child. What age?
I was about 14.
Okay. How old were you when you had the weight loss surgery?
I was 36.
Okay.
I just had that about 2 years ago.
Is that when they stopped the metformin after that?
Just beforehand.
Okay.
Because I stopped the metformin and actually started berberine.
Okay, good. Are you still taking the berberine?
Just before I had the surgery. No, I quit taking the berberine after the surgery.
Okay. I might go back to the berberine just because it's a good supplement for a lot of things, and it can help with blood sugar control. So since the surgery, tell me about your diet. Oh, how old are you now? You had the surgery at 36. How old are you now?
38.
Okay. So tell me about your diet since the surgery.
There's days that I don't eat. There's days that I can't eat because I'm nauseated to the point of not being able to eat.
This is all
there's
due
days
to,
where I can get in
to
a
the
little bit of
surgery.
food.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
This is all due to the surgery, all these digestive issues.
Yes.
So, have you ever worn a CGM?
I just called my doctor and asked for one, and he won't give me one.
If you can afford it, it is a little more pricey because insurance won't do this, so you got to pay for it out of your pocket. But for a couple $100, you can get a CGM on your own. You don't need your doctor. I believe they're going to start selling these over the counter. I think the FDA just approved that, but I don't know if anybody's doing it yet. But we work with a company called NutriSense, and you just do it on your own.
Okay.
Their doctors will prescribe it for you. They do it for anybody who asks, but it is still prescribed by a doctor through them, and you can do it for 1 month. And really, you can learn enough in a month. I am really curious. I would love to see your blood sugar patterns because it seems like it's way off. Like almost all. There's only 2 reasons we see low blood sugar in people. One is diabetic medications. Those are the single biggest cause of low blood sugar. That's the point. They're designed to lower your blood sugar, and we don't always control that very well. So people suffer dangerous low blood sugar events when they're on a diabetic medication. If they're not on a diabetic medication and they're suffering low blood sugar, we call that reactive hypoglycemia. So what's happening most of the time, but we need to figure this out with you. That's why a CGM would help a lot. Most of the time, they're so insulin resistant that their blood sugar spikes way high when they eat carbohydrates. Then the body dumps a bunch of insulin and then it drops way low. That is usually the first indication of somebody becoming diabetic. You know, we don't notice years and years and years of high blood sugar because they're not testing. They don't think they're diabetic. And it takes almost 10 years for this to catch up. And then we start seeing low blood sugar episodes, and we see that big roller coaster of blood sugar. So I'd really like to see, a couple weeks of a CGM and see what these patterns are. My guess is that you are so insulin resistant at this point that you're only going to see these big swings. Now,
my last insulin level that I had done, I was 6.7.
Boy, that's low. I mean, that's not a bad number.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why you're seeing. See, this is why I really need to see a CGM. A lot of things aren't making sense here. You're not eating much. When you do, other than this morning, you're saying you're eating mostly meat. The only adjustment, one of the things we've noticed with a carnivore diet, and if somebody is very insulin resistant, hardcore carnivore won't work. It's got to be more keto, and it can be a carnivore keto combination. And what I mean by that is all carnivore is keto anyway. But for somebody who's really insulin resistant, we want to make it more keto, meaning more fat, less protein. When you become that insulin resistant, even protein will spike your blood sugar. Your body starts converting it to sugars. So if we go more heavy on the fat. Now, are you digesting fat well at all?
I don't digest anything well.
Okay.
Everything comes out as it went in.
Got it. Which surgery did you have?
I had the bypass, the full bypass.
Oh, that's why. I mean, think about it. They're bypassing parts of your digestive system. No wonder why we can't digest food. You can't skip these steps. But they already have, so we have to try to deal with this. Have you ever tried any digestive supplements at all?
No.
Okay. we might need, and that would require being in the coaching call or you working with another functional medicine doctor, somebody you can, it's just going to be a pure experiment to see if we can get any of the supplements that may help your digestion. Things like stomach acid, digestive enzymes, bile salts. What we're trying to do is we're trying to replace the function.
I have no gallbladder either.
Well, that's why you need bile salts. Because without a gallbladder, you don't. The most important nutrient in our diet is fat for everybody, whether you're diabetic or not. Fat is the most important nutrient in our diet. And we need to get lots of good fats in. If you don't have a gallbladder, you will always struggle to digest that. Therefore, we can replace or attempt to replace the function of the gallbladder with bile salts. Your gallbladder would sense that you ate fat and inject bile to start breaking it down and digesting it. Well, that's not happening anymore. Your liver still produces bile, but it just dumps into your intestines all day long, which is also a problem. But we need the bile there when there's fat. So we can take a bile salt anytime you're eating a meal or even a snack with fat in it. That might help. But because your digestion is not normal, we're just going to have to experiment with it. We're just going to have to play around and see what we can do. And that's why it would need to be in the coaching program, because I'd be able to work with you more in depth, take more time, do more research in the background, get you a CGM, and we could start to monitor that. And I'm just confused about this blood sugar pattern. So I'd like to see that. And part of the problem here is these weight loss surgeries change the function of our body so much that we don't get normal responses to things. And that's why your doctors are probably confused. They don't even understand half of what's going on here. And I don't either
My
yet.
doctors have washed their hands this week.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
My surgeon has washed their hands. They don't see me anymore.
Isn't that nice? Here, let us do this really expensive, dangerous weight loss surgery on you, and then when it doesn't work, we'll just send you down the road. We don't care anymore.
It worked as far as I've lost 100 pounds, but now I'm deathly ill, and
honestly, I'd rather you had
I'm malnourished at this point.
I'd rather you had the 100 pounds back and all of your parts. That's much, much easier to work with. This is a challenge. It just is, and you can see your doctors have given up. I don't want to give up. I think we can make things better for you. I think it's going to take some experimenting, and I need some more information from like a CGM, what is going on with your blood sugar. But I think we could at least make some improvements for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then my husband has a question, too, for you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, I don't mean to jump in line real quick here, Kevin, but I have I always hear you talk about the bulletproof brain octane.
Yeah.
And the M2 or M8 or C8 oil or whatever it is.
Yeah, pure C8.
So I'm not a big coffee drinker. Oh, what?
Yeah, it's pure C8. The product we used to carry was brain octane from Bulletproof. We have now started carrying our own brand we call Mind Fuel, but it is still pure organic C8.
Okay. So I don't know how they messed up. Instead of me Bulletproof, I ended up with Brain Octane Soft Gel through Bulletproof. Are those as good as the other stuff till I get my next order, place another order through you guys?
Yeah, if you get it through us, called Mind Fuel. The Bulletproof soft gels, it's the same product. The problem is I do 2 full tablespoons in my coffee a day. And I don't know how many soft gels that would have to be. So, yeah, it's the same product. They just put the oil inside that soft gel. It's just how many of those capsules do I have to swallow to get enough of the product?
Okay.
And here's the other thing. You said you're not a big coffee drinker. The other really nice ways of using the Mind Fuel is use it like any oil. You can cook with it. You can make salad dressings out of it. You can make marinades with it. Probably, I don't know that I'd make a marinade with it because usually end up throwing the marinade out and it's fairly expensive oil. So, but salad dressings makes great salad dressings. Just drizzle it on food. To add a little extra fat, just drizzle some mind fuel on anything you eat.
Okay. All right. That'll work.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Tiffany, give that some thought.
Sounds good. I mean, I was supposed to be on all this diabetic medicine, and just with diet, I can get it down to 150.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
I mean, it's still high, but,
well, it's coming down, and that's
better than...
without medication. That's the right way to do it.
Right. And then, I mean, other than the berberine and the brain octane, is there any other good supplements for blood sugar, or just do the and that's about it?
We have some products. We have one called Glucobalance. I prefer to work with food first and get the best results we can possibly get from just food. Now, berberine we like to throw in. It's one of those that just helps everybody. There's virtually no side effects. Mind Fuel we look at more of a food than a supplement. But when it comes to almost everything, I would rather start with just food until we identify a need. If somebody starts on a keto or carnivore diet and they're getting muscle cramping, then we're going to recommend a mineral supplement like Light Balance. At some point, we might need
I do Light Balance and Cardio Miracle also. And
those are
just
fine.
About
But
the 5, and that's about it.
Other than that, on the blood sugar, berberine, and I would just wait and see what we can get done with food alone.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Tiffany, think about that. If you decide you want to move forward, just get in touch with us and set up the coaching program. We've got a call this Thursday, and you could certainly join us for the call this Thursday. Let's go to Michigan. Kim, welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning. Mind Fuel with garlic and balsamic vinegar.
Oh,
Makes an awesome, put it in the refrigerator with your big old steak, and then you don't have to throw it away. After the steak is done, throw that mixture with a little bit of butter in the microwave, and then you've got a nice coating on the rest of your plate.
I'm glad you
salad,
brought that
if
up.
You're making that and your steak.
Because I was thinking about clarifying that. So if you use a marinade for meat, you mix up a marinade. What you just described is awesome. Some balsamic vinegar, Mind Fuel, some garlic, throw some herbs in, whatever you want. Marinate the steak. Most people have been told they have to throw that marinade away because you had raw meat in it. We'll just cook it. Like you just said, just put it in the microwave. It's fine. Technically, if it's just beef, I mean, I eat raw beef anyway. Yeah. So, raw beef doesn't bother me. But yeah, you can simmer and reduce your marinade down for a glaze or a coating. You could microwave it. And then, like you said, it becomes more of a dressing then.
That's awesome. Don't waste it.
Yes,
hey,
exactly.
So, for the last 3 months, I've been going out by your house, picking up in Michigan, Ohio, or Michigan, Indiana, and then going out to Seattle and then Portland. Well, I just got a call the other day on the way. I picked up yogurt and brought that back to Michigan, but anyway, over to Gerber. But anyway, I got a call that we lost the account. We were doing $2.30 a mile, and the company that undercut us they said that they're going to do it for $1.25, and if we wanted to match them, we could match them.
Somebody's doing like a couple thousand miles at what did you say, $1.35?
No, $1.25.
$1.25.
So they're picking up in Indiana, and they're going out to Seattle first. Actually, it's Auburn, Washington, which is kind of a suburb of Seattle.
I know. Right.
And then the second and third stop are down in Portland.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
$1.25.
Well, and
so
now
hopefully they have their numbers right, and they're like Matt, and they've got great. Otherwise, I might be back on it.
No, you are going to be back on it. If this is, unless this is somebody with one truck, there's no way they're going to make it.
No, it's a medium-sized fleet.
Yeah, they can't. They
I
can't
think
do
they
it.
want to try to get in the door.
They
Yeah, I think
well,
they're trying to get in the door and push us all out, and they want to raise their price. But we've been dealing with Maple Leaf for 8, 10 years,
yeah, it's a good
and
brand of yogurt too.
we're not late. And during the China virus time, we didn't raise our rates like everybody else did. We just stayed right where we were.
This is,
Anyway,
the shippers should have a little more sense to understand cheap is one thing, but this isn't even workable. Now, let's talk about something. We've talked about Matt being able to get his cost down to 80 or 90 cents a mile. That's with no driver pay.
Yep.
We're just trying to compare operational costs, and that's why we use these numbers. Now, Atree's number on the other end for fleets with drivers, payroll taxes, all that stuff in there is $228 a mile. So that's obviously really high, but that tends to be what fleet costs run. It's much, much harder for a fleet to manage their cost. So if we take Matt's number, which I've always said, you can't get the numbers any lower or any better than Matt's. There's no more room left. We've looked at it. This is it. This is as good as it's going to get. So if we just take the average, not even an average, take 60 cents a mile for the driver, you're already at $1.40 something. That's if you are managing your cost as good as you could possibly manage them. And fleets can't and don't. So there's just no way these numbers make any sense. They can't sustain this.
well, we shall see.
Now, here's
But I got
something
some
else
good
to think
news.
about.
Go ahead.
Now, maybe I missed this when you were talking about it. You're loaded both ways on this?
No, only one way.
So you have to find your
So
freight
we
back
pick
out of
up
the
in
Pacific
Indiana.
Northwest.
Yeah, we have to find our own backhaul. But there's a big yogurt place right there in Auburn, actually Kent, Washington.
Yeah, I know where Kent
and
is.
we bring that right back. Yeah, we bring that right back to Gerber and Fremont. So it's yogurt for baby food.
What's the rate on that?
And that pays $5,600. That's $5,600.
So
to go
220, 230
2,100
something.
miles. Yep, about 227.
So let's call it 225 and a buck. It's $3.50. So it's $1.75 a mile round trip, roughly, on all miles. If we were to calculate all miles, it should be about $1.75.
Okay, yeah. If you do all miles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, if that freight is available, because typically finding freight coming out of the Pacific Northwest is not all that easy, and it doesn't pay that great usually.
No.
Okay, so...
Well, if we go down to Portland, there's a dairy. We pick up ice cream and bring that back to Grand Rapids, Michigan, Hudsonville.
Got it.
And that only pays $4,600.
So if you get one of these two backhauls every time you come out, then this is just barely sustainable for a good fleet that is working to manage costs a little bit. We're going to end up, like I said, about $1.75 a mile, all miles, which means they might be able to squeak that out. They're not making much money, and any problem and you start losing profit. I think what's happening though is the companies are getting desperate just to keep wheels turning, and they're going to bid this kind of stuff just to keep their trucks rolling. I would say there's about a 50-50 chance they won't be able to continue this.
Yep. Well, yeah, we don't know what winter time is going to be like for them, but
Oh yeah,
we have a open window with Maple Leaf. I mean, we still have freight that's going out to New York, New Jersey, Baltimore.
Well, that's
so
good.
I can get back on those loads.
At some point, they may come back to you and say, hey, we need that Seattle stuff covered again.
Yep, we didn't lose all of our
Good.
all of our lanes.
Good.
Yeah, but guess we picked up one Hey, I don't know if I should say this if you're recording on YouTube.
Go ahead. I'm not gonna.
Well, it won't be anything. It won't be anything terrible.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
picked up a Pfizer lane.
Oh boy.
Pfizer out of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay.
So I don't know what exactly. I mean, I have 53 foot of Reaper trailer. What? I won't know until Monday what's going to go in the trailer.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
That is
And
interesting.
those Pfizer loads are paying $4 a mile.
Well, that's because Pfizer
My
has
first step is
more money than the government.
yeah, they got gazillion. Absolutely. And what's really strange is I'm going to an airport in Alabama. Like they couldn't truck it to an airport in Grand Rapids or Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm going to an airport in Alabama.
You know,
and it's flying overseas.
We talk about this. Our logistics system has become so complicated, and a lot of times you look at it and go, "This makes no sense whatsoever," until you look at their supply chain, and then you start to see, okay, you got to consolidate stuff somewhere. So, but again, we've talked about this. Our global supply chain is too complicated. It's inefficient. It needs a lot of help. But this is one of those companies that their profit margins are so high that this stuff doesn't even register for them. They don't care.
Yep. I just said show up with a clean trailer and food grade.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. We'll see where that takes me.
There you go. You might as well grab
I told
some
them
of
I
their
will
money.
go anywhere except California. That's the only place that I'm not willing to travel into.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, stay out of there. Yeah, hey, good show. Now I've been listening. Now I haven't done the coaching calls like I should, but I've been listening to the book recommendations.
Okay.
So I just finished again. This is my third listen to 7 Habits.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was kind of a long, drawn out.
It is.
Because I would stop whenever I start getting bored listening to it. Okay, I got to stop because I'm not retaining.
Right.
And then I would switch to War of the Worlds or something that was, kind of interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
And we only have 7 seconds to prepare.
Yeah,
for the end of the world.
It only takes like what was the time, like 72 minutes or something. Yeah, and it's all over.
Yeah. Oh, and I found another book that's similar to EMF'd.
Okay.
And it's called The Electric Rainbow. And that doesn't sound right. And it's similar to, it's another doctor that wrote the book, and it's a lot has to do with EMFs and other things that are, hurting our bodies. I want to say that the electric rainbow.
I may look for that.
It's on my Kindle. It's on my Kindle. I'm driving though. I can't look.
Yeah, I'm going to collect in
Kindle,
my resources for that research. I'm not sure when I'm going to dive into that, but I want to make sure I'm not. Right now, I just have too many things going on, and that one I really need to focus on. So I've got EMF'd on my Kindle already. I'll try to look for that one and see if I can find it. And at some point...
it's called The Invisible Rainbow.
Okay, I'll write that down. Thank you.
By Feisberg.
All right. Thank you.
So anyway, hey, good show. I was gonna pop in, because I go right past on 84.
Yeah.
And your entrance is right there between the scale. The scale. I was just afraid that since I'm loaded, they'd think I'm trying to dodge them.
Nobody watches around here.
But since you know everybody, I'd be like, hey, I'm just going to see Kevin. They'd be like, oh, okay.
They know exactly, yeah. And they don't, I've never really seen them trying to catch anybody going around that scale.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe if I'm out there next time.
Yeah, stop in.
No other reason other than to get some of that yogurt. Oh, my gosh. We were making it from the beginning.
Yeah.
But now since I've been gone 2 weeks in a row, my wife is busy and I just haven't.
I haven't made it.
If there was a way I could make it in my truck.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Go ahead.
No, I haven't been making it either, and I'm really missing it.
Yep. I know. You can tell when you're missing it because you start to get a little bit of I wouldn't say road rage. That's the wrong term. But you do get a little frustrated.
Yeah.
But when you're taking it, you're like, hell, just go ahead of me. I don't care. Whatever you're doing.
It definitely has an impact, no doubt.
Is it Pitocin? What is it that it's giving you to be happy?
I just drew a blank. They call it the love hormone.
Yeah.
Whatever you
because
said
normally
was,
I have no
was
feelings
close,
for
but
anybody whatsoever, but after eating a month of yogurt, I start to be like, oh, you need a hug.
Why can't I think of that? The word you said was close, but not quite. Oxytocin. Oxytocin. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pitocin gives birth, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew it was close.
Yep. So, do you think we'll have a similar topic to Monday for debating? The Australian dude wants to talk about body parts.
Oh no, that was just we were just goofing around with. Although, like I said, I would rather get people involved and have them debate any goofy topic they want, because it's really not about the topic or being right or proving a point. I want to do some of that and help educate people, but I really, the point of this is to get people to so we can all learn how to talk to each other about things we disagree on.
So when you call in or when you listen to X, so I use my phone and I use the X app, and it comes through my Bluetooth on my truck.
Right.
Would I be able to participate on my headset?
Yes.
Or would it come through the speakers?
No.
And then it would be all the...
That's all your settings on your end. So if you take your phone and you connect it Bluetooth to your headset, and then you're in the space, then yes, you're going to be hearing it in your headset, and you're going to be speaking through your mic on the headset.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because all I ever do is just usually listen.
Yeah, so you could either listen on the radio itself through Bluetooth, or you could listen through your headset. Just depends on which one you connected to your phone.
Okay. I'll try to listen today. I've got some driving to do, and I'll see what I can do.
All right.
Maybe there will be a topic that be on the wrong side of. Okay. Hey, you have a great day. Thanks for being there, Kevin.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Let's go to BC. Mart, welcome.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. We've got an oil sample to look at.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me take a second here because it's a cat sample. Takes me a little longer.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got going on here.
There's two samples there.
Is this okay? This is a 30 weight oil. Boy, the viscosity is really low on this stuff. Down in the 10s. But these, is this a synthetic 10W30?
Semi-synthetic.
Semi, okay. Oxidation looks a little high this time. Has the engine anything been running hotter than normal?
Not in particularly, no.
Okay. And it's not bad. It's just, it's elevated over what it, quite a bit over what it was the last time, but nothing that I'd be too worried about.
Yeah, and it's the same oil. Like that sample is on the same oil. I had one taken at 17,000 miles.
Got it. Okay.
Like there's it.
Yeah, I did.
And then the other one was at 35,000 miles.
That makes
That's
total
when I dropped
sense.
oil.
Okay, that makes total sense then. I didn't catch that. Let me see if I notice anything else that sticks out here. Really, I mean, soot's low. Where metals are good. Your silicon is just starting to edge into the danger zone. We really don't like to see silicon go over 10, and you're at 11. It's not causing any issues.
Yeah, and they did do an overhead.
Okay.
They did do an overhead on that engine.
That's why. Then that explains that. Now, then, there's really nothing to talk about on the sample. Looks like the engine's tuned well and running well, and I don't see any problems at all.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. That's what I like to hear. So let's keep trucking.
Perfect.
That's all we can do.
That's right. That's right. Anything else
Excellent.
today?
Well, that's all I needed to know. I won't keep you too long.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for the call. Yeah, good looking sample. Let's go to Wisconsin this time. Dan, welcome to the program.
Oh, hey, Kevin. Good to talk to you. Been listening for a few years. One of the guys that's kind of nervous to call, but it is what it is.
So far,
calling you about.
So far, Dan.
Go ahead.
I've been doing my own show for, I don't know, 18 years now, 17, 18 years, something like that. And nobody's died yet on the air with me, so I think you're safe.
I appreciate that. And I've heard you say that before. Two questions. I've bounced in and out of doing the keto carnivore thing, and when I do it, I have great results. When I go in and get my blood pressure renewed, my A1C is always about 4.5, 4.6.
Okay.
I mean, that's a good health marker, right?
Oh, my God, that is.
I mean, that's a low, good A1C, right?
So A1C is probably our most important health marker of all. And the reason I say that is because everything we're dealing with today is metabolic syndrome, and metabolic syndrome starts with poor blood sugar control. And everything stems from that: heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes. All of these things come from insulin resistance. So it is an important marker, and your number is darn near perfect.
Which is amazing to me because I'm like 6'3", pushing 375 pretty hard at age 53. So I'm pretty lucky then, I guess.
You are. And we can't even really explain why this occasionally happens. It's pretty rare, but it does happen, and we're not even sure why.
Okay. Excellent. Well, and my next question is, you've talked about how when you do the keto diet and then you jump back in, sometimes it takes a while for you to start losing weight. And I was doing great a few months ago, fell off the wagon, starting up again today. But when I was checking my ketones with the Keto Mojo, I was getting readings 1, 2. The highest I saw was 1.7. I mean, if you're at that level of ketosis, you should be burning fat, losing weight. Right?
Absolutely. But sometimes we don't. And again, we don't know why. We can't explain this when it happens. But 1.7, you are deep into nutritional ketosis. And you absolutely should be. At that point, your body's burning fat. We know it is because it's making ketones. And you should be losing weight. But once in a while, we run into somebody. And our best guess is that it's going to be something hormonal if we ever figure it out. Because almost all weight loss comes down to hormones. I mean, it's incredible to watch somebody eat almost nothing. And what they are eating is not spiking blood sugar at all, and yet they're still not losing weight. And we're not sure why.
Okay. Excellent. And then one quick one, too. I was taking the Bulletproof oil, the MCT oil, and I purchased some of yours recently, and I haven't started using it. I'm going to start again today, obviously, or tomorrow. I do get an upset stomach like 3 or 4 hours, even if I use, say, a tablespoon or less. Is it my body gonna get used to it eventually, or is it just maybe I'm one of the guys that just can't take it? Because I don't have that issue when I use good quality coconut oil.
Yeah, then it probably, I was going to say it could just be the fact that you're deep into ketosis. Sometimes being really deep into ketosis, one of the side effects can be nausea. And occasionally I get that. I'm kind of prone to nausea anyway because I've got some scar tissue on my intestines. But if I go deep into ketosis, sometimes I'll get nauseous. Not to where I feel like I'm going to throw up, but just this low-grade nausea that kind of hangs around sometimes. But it sounds like that if you can do the coconut oil without having it, it is the C8 that's doing it. We don't carry a blend, but Bulletproof does. They carry Do we carry Bulletproof's XCT oil? I'd have to check. Let me check real quick. You may try that because it is. I have such a hard time typing and talking at the same time. The blend may do it. Let me see if we have that.
Okay.
XCT. Can't remember if we carried that or not. No, but if you go to if the full C8 isn't working and you still want to try something to help produce ketones, you may want to try Bulletproof's XCT oil. That's a blend of C8 and C10.
Okay. Okay. And I thought maybe just use a teaspoon of the of your product and a little more coconut oil. Just
you could try that. Well, basically, if you try that, since you've already bought it, that is kind of what you're going to be doing. You're going to be creating a blend. With coconut oil, you get C6, which is actually good. We don't try to isolate C6 itself. It would produce ketones even faster than C8 does. The problem with C6, when you isolate it, it tastes awful. C8 is the exact opposite. It produces ketones quick. It has no taste at all. Then you still have, in coconut oil, you have C10 and C12. So when you take our pure C8 and you mix it with like virgin coconut oil, you're creating your own blend with more C8, which would be good. So I would try that. That's a good idea. One other thing, since you mentioned ours, I've been very transparent about this. All C8 is the same. It's a commodity. You can buy this stuff by the truckload. As long as it's organic, ours is, it's all the same. So we just branded ours because we can, improve our margins. And but I will say this. There is one thing about our oil that is so much better than any other oil I've tried. It's our bottle. The bottle, we finally got it. Bulletproof must have gone through, I don't know, 6 different bottle designs and different cap designs, and it still dribbles oil all over the place. Ours is a squeeze, and the other thing I love about it is I can squeeze 2 tablespoons perfect. I don't even have to measure it. You do not get a single bit of oil on the outside of the bottle, ever. And you can use the entire bottle. When it's empty, it's empty. No oil on the outside. It is such an improvement.
Well, cool. I'll look forward to trying it out here shortly. I guess the last thing I'll say is I do appreciate everything you do. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I think you are right. You haven't lost a caller yet, and I think I'm going to survive.
You
today,
survived.
So I appreciate it.
Yep. And you'll be stronger for it. There you go.
I will. Thanks, man.
Take care.
All right.
All right. Let's go to Reno. Darren, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you this morning?
What's on your mind this morning? I'm doing wonderful.
That's good. I don't know if you remember, I called in, I think it was Wednesday, or I'm not sure what day, it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and Rolling Toll was coming on, and I just had a very brief conversation with you, and I mentioned that I signed up for the CMC so far, and I've done a few of the lessons, but because I've been in business before, I can see a lot of my a lot of that stuff, but it's never a bad idea to get refreshed on that. But I looked ahead, and some of the lessons coming up there look really helpful for me. But when I called in that day when Mike and Kevin were coming up from Rolling Toe pretty soon, you offered me the coaching.
Yes.
And I got a text for that, and I connected to that. And a couple of things. One is I never got to speak to you. I don't know why. I saw the program with you helping other people, and I didn't know I was supposed to put hands up, or if I'm supposed to raise a hand or not. I did at the end, but maybe you just didn't see it, so that's what happened there.
I may not have, because we watched that pretty close, and I've even gone, it's supposed to be a 2-hour session, but, I've gone 2.5. I think one time I actually went 3. I really try to get to everybody's questions, so I maybe I just missed it. Maybe it was a technical difficulty, but I usually don't end that if there are still hands up.
Yeah. Okay. But 2 things. One is I looked later to see if I could find that episode or previous episodes to listen to. I found them, but I couldn't click on anything to listen to it, it seemed like.
That would be, we'd have to get you over to Tribe Care so they can kind of work through that with you. Because I have no idea what that might be.
Yeah, because I'd like to listen to a lot of the other episodes. I'm sure there's knowledge I can pick up from there. And but anyway, I did listen to you. It was a health week. I guess every week you switch it up, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then I noticed that you would take trucking calls after all the health ones are done, which is really nice.
Yeah, so here's the way we do it, just so everybody understands the coaching call. When you join the coaching program, it's a month at a time, $75 a month, and you're going to get at least four. Occasionally, you might get 5 when we have that weird quarter thing. Yeah, so you're going to get at least 4 coaching calls every month. We have a pattern where we do health one week and business, money, financial kind of the next week. Those are the questions people submit information ahead of time. I do the research. I study them. I have my answer prepared. We go on. If it's health that day, I answer all the pre-submitted health questions. Then we go to any health questions that somebody just wants to ask on the fly. And then when we're done with that, I open it up for any question anybody wants to ask me. Look, if you're on the coaching call and you want help with your garden, I'll help you with that. I mean, really, I want to make sure people get value out of this. So virtually every week we do a mix, but we usually have a theme so we know what we're going to start with at least.
Yeah, okay. Anyhow, I just wanted to comment and let your listeners know I was blown away of how much you're helping and how much time and you're taking into this. If I get 1/10 of that kind of support, I'll be happier than anything.
Oh, you're
so impressed.
You will get the full-blown support. I mean, everybody does. And here's the
thing. I'm sure I would, but I mean, I just can't believe how much you're doing. It really can tell how you really enjoy helping people. That comes out very clear.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I will say that I was a little worried about starting the coaching program, because it is a lot of work. It's intense. I do a lot of background work. I didn't know if I was going to have time to give everybody enough attention, but it's turning out the opposite, that we have a lot of people who sign up, but we don't have that many that submit really tough questions. So I have been able to spend a lot of time with people on these issues, and I am really, really enjoying it. You said you could see it. I'm really enjoying it. And here's why. I mean, I've spent, honestly now, 40 years reading and researching and learning these things, and I've read thousands of books on business, money, health, all these things. It's really, really enjoyable to me, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of being able to use that information to really help somebody much deeper than I can here on this show.
Yes. Yeah. Like I say, there was only maybe a couple of calls that were short, but that was all that caller I could tell needed. You were spending 30 plus minutes with many callers. I was blown away.
Yeah, I do. I've spent more than an hour with one person on a coaching call, and that's the point. That's why we do the coaching call. For example, the caller earlier, Tiffany. I mean, that's a tough one. I can tell already. There's no way I can handle that on this show. But she's perfect for the coaching call. Yes.
Okay. Anyhow, I signed up for it. The problem I'm going to have is trying to find the time during those specific hours. But I'm going to do my best. If not, I'll try and figure out how to submit questions in advance.
Yeah.
Anytime. I've already signed up for the coaching and the CMC.
Anytime you need help with those, just reach out to Tribe Care. They'll take care of you.
Yeah. Anyhow, do you remember I was the one who was thinking of looking for a truck at a Ritchie Brothers auction?
Correct.
And the guys on technology, and yourself, you strongly suggested not to if I'm not going to be the one pulling the wrenches, taking that risk.
Right.
And anyhow, I did, on that particular program, Henry gave me a list of basically what I should be looking for specs if I'm looking for a Cascadia, which I appreciated. And I just want to mention one thing too. I've been listening to what is it called? Trucking and Beyond with Kevin Rutherford or Trucking with Kevin Rutherford. There was 2 podcasts I noticed, or radio programs.
Okay.
And on those, I noticed I was getting sometimes Rolling Toll coming on after, or the Power Hour, or the Technology. But I was missing a whole bunch. And then when I went back to look at my podcast list and typed up your name, I found the ones that said the Power Hour only, and
Right.
again, the Friday one, and that sort of thing. So I went back and I'm starting to listen to all of those from January 1st this year and on.
Good.
And I heard Joel give another person looking for a truck advice that was looking to do a dry van over the 48 states. He mentioned that at Schneider, they spec out their trucks really well. And I looked up the used trucks for sale at Schneider, and they were pretty much bang on what Henry said to look for when you're specing a truck.
Right.
So I'm kind of thinking of doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, anyhow, I live in Reno area, and I think the closest Schneider one is out in Salt Lake City and stuff like that. And I mentioned to you before, while I'm still keeping my current driving job, to get a truck and get it all prepared is a very difficult thing. So I came up with an idea, and I didn't want to ask this question on the air because it was regarding Pittsburgh Power, and I didn't want to put Bruce on the spot. So I called Bruce on my own from Pittsburgh Power, and I guess I didn't keep track of my days, and I guess the day I called was the day that he was on the air, just last Tuesday, I guess.
Okay.
With you guys, and the lady that answered the phone mentioned that, and I totally forgot. I said, okay. Well, Bruce called me back probably within 2 hours, and I don't know how long the show was even running then. So basically, he got back to me right away. He spent 27 minutes talking to me and helping with this, and this is the idea I had, and he thought he could help me out. I want to see what you thought.
All right.
Since I'm having trouble getting a truck, I looked up, and there's a Schneider's that sells trucks in Columbus and another one in Harrisburg that are not that far from Pittsburgh Power. And then I remembered you saying you don't shop for a truck, you shop for a salesman.
Correct.
And I thought, well, if I tried to build up some sort of rapport with the salesman at each one of those locations and ask them if they have a truck that comes in that isn't smoky. I don't remember, I don't smoke, and I definitely do not trying to find a truck that's not smoky.
Right.
If they can get an oil sample, I'll send out the oil sample kit for them. If they could get an oil sample and stuff like that and send it off.
Yep.
And then I asked Bruce if he would have any way of finding someone from his shop or something on a Saturday, that because they're closed on Saturdays, someone that has a CDL and a friend that could drive out to one of those locations if I purchase one and get it back to his shop to go through it. And he says he should be able to help me with that. So this is kind of my idea. I want to see what you thought of it.
I can't imagine a better way of buying a truck than what you just described.
Okay, I'm glad. That sounds good. Now, it'll be like I'm buying a truck sight unseen, but I remember you mentioned if you had a choice of driving the truck or getting an oil sample, getting an ECM report, and getting a rig dig, you would rather have that.
I honestly, I've bought, I wish I would have kept track. I don't know if I could go back and figure it out or not, how many trucks I owned over the years. But it's a lot. I've bought a lot of used trucks. I've bought several new trucks. I have no problem buying a truck without driving it. But I will not buy a truck without doing all the stuff I do. The rig dig, the ECM, full ECM report, the oil sample, a physical inspection. And I don't need to be there for that. Somebody else I trust can do that for me. So I have bought many used trucks without ever driving them. But I do all the other steps. Okay. Honestly, here's the thing. If there is something so wrong with a truck that you're going to notice it on a test drive, they're probably not going to sell it like that. They're going to fix it. So I find that I do test drives on trucks. I get almost no real information from doing a test drive. For one, all I'm going to do is bobtail. You can't pull a trailer with it. You can't pull a load with it. So you get such limited information from bobtailing the truck for 20 minutes. Why bother? If I can, I'll go drive it. But I've bought many trucks without ever seeing them. Yes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned inspection. How would I go about trying to find someone to get it inspected across the country like that?
Just exactly what you just did. If you find a truck and it's not serviced yet and they're going to pull an oil sample, then you call mechanics like you did with Pittsburgh Power and say, hey, is somebody willing to go do this on a Saturday? I'll pay, give me a price. If it's right, I'll pay it. If you can talk the dealer into letting you take it to a shop somewhere, sometimes they'll let you do that. But we just do whatever we can. Now, ultimately, if I have to, and I only had to do it once or twice, I will physically fly there and do the inspection myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that's probably not an option for me. Because, I can look for a lot of things, but I wouldn't have a clue to look for all the things that you would or someone else who knows much more on this subject. You're saying maybe just phone around to some of the shops?
Yes, somebody close by.
Columbus or Harrisburg?
Yeah, somebody close by. And like you said, you do it on a weekend or an evening when they can make some extra money, and you can find somebody.
Yeah. So anyhow, after talking to Bruce, he said he'll have Brian give me a call, and I probably got a call from Brian within less than half an hour.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how quick they are there.
They
I had a good talk with Brian. Yeah.
I was going to say, like all of our vendors, we're pretty picky about really good customer service. We try to provide it here, and we like our vendors to be the same. And I will say this. I know a lot of founders and owners of companies. Almost all of our partnerships are smaller companies. There are a few exceptions. But even truckstop.com, as big as they are, $1 trillion company, I knew the owner when he used to own it.
Yeah.
I knew Scott Mosgrip. I worked with Scott. And so even a company that big, I know the owner and the founder. I will tell you, of all the owners, founders, CEOs I've ever worked with, nobody answers the phone and spends more time with individual customers and clients than Bruce Mallinson at Pittsburgh Power. Nobody. I've traveled with him, and he makes me crazy. We'll be talking at dinner, and his phone rings, and he answers it. And he'll sit there for 20 minutes at dinner talking to a customer. And I gave up trying to, that's just who he is. That's what he does, and he does it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see he not only looks after customers, but you can tell he looks after his employees of how long they've been there. And you just listen to the people that you have on the show, and I listen to Brian there. They're quality people. You
Absolutely.
can just see that.
Yep.
Or sense that, yeah. Anyhow, so also my plan was this. I mentioned to Brian, and he said it would be no problem. I said, if once I got the truck to you, it may only take you guys a week or so to go through it. I asked if I could let the truck sit there for 4 to 5 weeks till I get my motor carrier authority, if that's the way I'm going to go. And they said, sure, no problem at all. I guess they have lots of room for parking.
They've got a reasonable amount of space. It's not a huge parking lot, but they manage that kind of stuff because not everybody wants that. So when somebody does and you ask ahead of time, they're usually able to help you out with that.
Yeah, and they understood my situation all the way from Reno. It's not like I can swing over and pull it out.
Right.
And I kind of had a list of certain things, but I probably want to do more homework. During the coaching, I'll maybe email it ahead, a list ahead of what I'm thinking of doing, and you can tell me what I should or shouldn't, or maybe things that I would add, that sort of thing. I'm guessing that you'd be able to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. One thing, though, is before I go with the list, I asked what the Hawkeye report is. I heard that once on a podcast, and then Bruce kind of told me it's just, well, not just, but it's a guy that spends 2-3 hours completely looking over everything on the truck to see what there is, which is good.
And they call it
I heard another
the Hawkeye report because this guy doesn't miss anything. I've watched him.
That's right.
I've watched him do this, and it is incredible how good he is at this.
Yeah. Now they also had something that I looked online. It's called New to Me service. And I think it might even include the Hawkeye, but it also includes on the dyno and stuff like that. Are you aware of that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. When you're done with that program, you will know more about your truck than about 95% of the owner-operators on the road.
Yeah, so that that's cost quite a bit more than the Hawkeye report, but it sounds like it's well worth it.
Dyno time is expensive.
Yeah. Now, is that necessary? Should I have the dyno on the truck I buy?
Nothing's necessary, but if I can afford it, I'm certainly doing it.
Yeah, it's nice to know where the power is. Now, they do they do it before the service and the tune-up and then after to see the differences?
I doubt it. Because, again, dyno time is really expensive. I don't know for sure on this program, but I don't think they're going to put it on the dyno twice.
Probably after it's done and give you the results of what it is, I'm guessing. Huh?
Right.
Okay. All right.
Now, one of the things I have watched them do is so I would imagine they're going to do the Hawkeye report, then they're going to do the service, then they're going to put it on the dyno. But I've watched them many times when they identify a problem on the dyno, they'll stick with it till they fix it and then verify that they did get it right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, in regards back to the phone calls to the Schneider sales person who looks after whether it's in Columbus or Harrisburg, like I say, excuse me a second, I would ask them not to do the oil change so I can get them a sample and I'll send that ahead of time.
Right.
Would I ask them not to do the oil change at all because I'm going to need it changed afterwards? I get the diesel force done.
Let them do the oil change after. Yeah, they're doing it free. Let them do it.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that anyhow, because all of a sudden now I'm taking away. It may sound like I'm so for sure going to buy that truck that I kind of lose any kind of bargaining power, and I don't know if I'll have much on this anyhow. But it sounds like from what you were saying, it's better to pay a little more for a truck that you know that's good than trying to bargain.
I'd rather just get the truck. If it's a good truck, we've been through all these inspections, oil samples, ECM reports, all this, and it's a good truck. I'm not going to get too crazy if I can't get another $1,000 off the price. I may still be able to. We teach negotiation. There's still negotiating power in there, but it's not my biggest concern.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll work on these things, and like I said, I'll try and get in touch or make it to the CMC. It's Thursday. At what time? Pacific time?
The CMC is tomorrow at noon.
Oh, tomorrow.
Noon Pacific.
Oh, I won't be able to do it tomorrow. And I guess I heard you're taking vacation the week after.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not the CMC. I meant the coaching.
Coaching is on
that's Thursday.
Thursday at noon. Yeah, Pacific.
Thursday at noon. Okay, that one I'm going to try and make.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up any more time. Let some of the other callers get in. I sure appreciate everything.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. Let's go to North Dakota this time. John, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kevin. Oh, you told me to bug you about peaks and valleys. Whether or not you got that read.
I didn't get it. I haven't read much.
Kind of figured with
anything. You know what else I haven't done?
Kind of figured.
I just realized July is going to be over soon. I have not put my foil in the water once yet this year.
Yeah.
That's why I'm taking a vacation.
Yep.
I have to.
Kind of what,
I have got. I took on too many things with the coaching calls, the CMC, the spaces, the shows have been going 3 hours every day with lots of calls, and I am just getting behind on everything.
No, I understand that.
Remind me again.
I caught something on.
What's this?
Yeah, I will do my best.
No, I can't even remember
Peaks and Valleys. The guy that wrote "Who Moved My Cheese."
Oh, that's it. Okay, now I remember. Yeah.
Yep. I caught something on social media. I don't know. I haven't had time to dig into it. But did Biden back out of the race? Are they replacing the Democrat nominee?
So here's what I know so far on this. Yesterday, a letter was posted to Biden's account on X. That's all. That's all that happened. So we did not see him. We didn't hear from him. it was just a letter posted on X explaining that he's dropping out. That's all we got. And from what I gather, from what I checked on this morning, we still haven't heard from him. Joe might not know he dropped out for all we know, but somebody has said he's dropping out. And they said he endorsed Kamala. So as of right now, it looks like she's the candidate. But I think what they're going to do, I think they're going to run another primary.
Okay. Yeah, that's just the news that I heard. I just didn't get time to go and verify it myself.
It's for
so
real
I
this
figured
time.
I'd ask.
Yeah, it's for real, but it's a little odd that it was just a letter. I saw the letter. It didn't even have the presidential seal on it. And normally when they sign something, the presidential seal is there. I didn't even see that. So the whole thing seems odd. We're not hearing from him. I don't know if we're ever going to hear from him. We may not hear from him again. I don't know. Here's the big question everybody's asking. Earlier this year, he went through an investigation, and the investigator said, yeah, there's some things here, but Joe is not fit to stand trial. That was the conclusion they came to.
Right.
And we all said, wait a minute, if he's not fit to stand trial, how is he fit to run for re-election or be the president right now? And they just ignored us like they always do. Well, now he's not fit to stand trial. He's not fit for re-election. Why is he still the president? They need to get him the hell out of there.
Yep. Agreed.
We are so vulnerable right now as a country. Everybody in the world is watching this, including all of our enemies, and the Democratic Party is in chaos right now, and they're running the show. So we should not have to deal with this kind of uncertainty between now and November. They need to yank his ass out of there, and I guess Kamala gets to run the show for now.
Yeah. So that was kind of my. Figured I'd check on the book and I'd ask the question on that, and I'll let you get some more questions. Have a good day.
All right, thanks for the call. Let's go to Arkansas. Tom, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Good.
Hey, what time is your X space today?
3:00 Eastern.
3 noon. Okay,
noon Pacific. Yeah.
Okay, I might try to call. I just got in the wrecker getting towed against my second time in 30 days with the Penske truck.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, this is just out of hand.
Yeah.
They won't do that thing was 20,000 miles past due on the PM when they gave it to me a month ago. Anyway, so don't ever buy a Penske rental.
I've talked about this for years. I've told people do not buy rental trucks when they go up for sale. And it's not just that they get abused, which they do. People don't take care of stuff that's not there. So these things are abused most of their life. For some reason, and I don't know what it was, every rental truck I ever used, and I used them a lot because anytime I needed to get my truck worked on, I almost always had to get a rental truck because I had to cover my contract at FedEx. So I've rented a lot of trucks over the years. They are always the worst trucks I've ever driven. I don't care if they're brand new. I don't know how they order these things or if they buy the rejects or there's something odd about rental trucks. I've talked about this. They get the worst fuel mileage. Even when I look at the specs and go, well, they're not that bad, but they seem to get horrible fuel mileage. Like I said, I had to do it a lot, and almost every time I did, it was a problem.
They do, and the one I got a couple years ago had 6 miles on it, and I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take really good care of this thing, and then when it goes up for sale, then I'll try to buy it, And that lasted about 7.6 miles per gallon at 70 miles an hour, which I could have. And when I slowed down, it did get better, but horrible. Even if I went 55, they were horrible fuel economy.
I was never able to figure out what they do to them that makes them get such bad fuel economy.
Yeah, I don't know. And then when it threw the rod at 200,000, but that was 3 oil changes into it. You know, so I can't even imagine what happened there.
You're right.
So on Friday you were talking to somebody, and about the country being so divided and all that, and we got to get over that. Well, okay. So we have to meet them halfway, blah, 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 blah. So I want to ask you a serious question about that. Now, what, these lunatics, and they are lunatics, to meet them halfway, what rights are you willing to give away to meet them halfway? Would it be like the whole Second Amendment they want gone? Are you willing to do that to meet these knuckleheads?
Me? Hell no. I'm not willing to compromise much of anything today, because here's the thing. Compromising or meeting in the middle, if that's what we're talking about here, the problem is they've shifted the damn bar so far left that the middle now is liberalism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You were saying that country, the country's so divided. We have to come to common ground and all that. Does that mean that you just want one testicle removed from your son that's now considering him?
I'm willing to come back to the middle on some of these things, but we have to define where the middle is now, and it's nowhere near where it used to be. I made the statement the other day that there's no doubt in my mind, if John F. Kennedy were back, he'd be a Republican today.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
Maybe a libertarian.
That's my, when you're saying that, when Trump gets in there, he shouldn't go after these people and prosecute them. These people are lunatics, Kevin. They're never going to stop, and they're never going to compromise at all on any of their stupid policies or visions.
Here's what I'd rather. I would rather not see him go after these people. And here's why. We never, ever seem to get any satisfaction out of this. We spend all kinds of money. We waste all kinds of time. There's hearings. There's whatever. And then what happens? Nothing. Ignore them. Somebody needs to be the adult in the room and get back to running a country. So no, as bad as they've been, I don't want to see them prosecuted. I don't want to see special counsels, and let's just move on. Let's fix our country first.
You think? Yeah, but I don't think that'll. I think you need to put these people in prison for a long time.
It's not going to happen though.
Because I don't think
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's. Okay, you got a point there. Then yeah, maybe we'll be adults in the room again.
I mean, look at what information is available now around the world about all the damage that's been done by this vaccine. Yeah, YouTube's about ready to cancel me, but I'm going on a rant. Deaths are up worldwide, up sharply worldwide, everywhere. And it correlates with vaccines. The more vaccines given in a country, the more people are dying for all kinds of stupid reasons. Turbo cancers are rampant nowadays. Blood clots are rampant. Heart attacks, AFib. It can all be traced back to this one vaccine. The data is out there. It's been out there for a very long time. Almost nobody disputes the data anymore. And yet nobody's been held responsible, and they're not going to be. So I don't even bother going after anybody. It's just a waste of our time.
How do you still promote it?
No,
how do you still promote
that's what
that?
I mean. So why try going after these people? All we do is waste a bunch of time and money. Let's just get back to running the country.
Yeah, I think maybe maybe that'll work. Okay, 12 o'clock Eastern time.
No, 3 o'clock Eastern.
Thank you.
12 Pacific.
Oh, and 12 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. I'll probably be sitting in a Penske shop, so I'll have plenty of time to watch it this time.
There you go.
Bitch.
All right.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Let's go to Oklahoma this time. Joe, welcome.
Oh, hey, Kevin, I've called you before. I appreciate your show.
Yeah, what's on your mind today?
I got a deal You guys, for a long time, I've been doing the apple cider vinegar because I found out it was good for my health.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know what to do with it. I found out I was supposed to do that baking soda afterwards. You know, you really need to do that. I met a gal. I was talking to her.
Wait. Stop a second. What do you mean you have to do the baking soda after?
Because it'll chew your mouth up. You got to neutralize that acid.
Well, how are you just doing a straight shot of it?
I guess I'm putting about 3 tablespoons in my breakfast.
Where? Like you're mixing it into something?
Well, on a fish, and I put some brain octane in there.
Then
I found out if you mix it,
that you don't need to neutralize that acid afterwards. If anything, if you felt like it was that strong, swish your mouth out with some water and swallow it. We take the apple cider vinegar because of the benefits. The baking soda neutralizes the apple cider vinegar. We don't want to neutralize it. We want the benefits.
Oh, really? I thought it was just for your gut.
Well, wait a minute. Are you spitting out the baking soda?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why? I would not go through that step. It's unnecessary.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said something. I heard you say something about the French do the brain octane and the apple cider vinegar. It's something they've been doing for years, and you said there was a name for that, and I didn't catch that.
Not necessarily the French, but what I think I was probably talking about was making a vinaigrette. That is a French word.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, vinaigrette. That's what you said.
Here's all a vinaigrette is.
I don't remember the name of it.
A vinaigrette is basically a dressing of some kind, a salad dressing. And a vinaigrette just means there's so many parts of oil and so many parts of acid. That's it. You can use any oil, you could use any acid that you're making a vinaigrette. So Mind Fuel, I almost said it again. Mind Fuel is an oil, a really healthy oil. Apple cider vinegar is a really healthy acid. So mix those two together. Now you've got a vinaigrette. Now you can throw in flavorings, garlic, herbs, seasonings, that kind of stuff.
Really? So that didn't hurt anything?
No, it doesn't hurt anything at all. No, it's good for
you.
It's good for you. We don't need to neutralize that. Now, if you were doing like a straight shot of apple cider vinegar, what I would say is follow it with some water. Here's the thing. Apple cider vinegar is a liquid. It's not going to cling to stuff in your mouth and just be sitting there acidic. You're just a little rinse. If you're already diluting it in food, well, shoot, you don't need to rinse or neutralize anything. Just stop that whole baking soda thing.
Oh, because I was terrified putting that in there, but I thought, well, what the hell? I just throw some baking soda in there. I called you to see if it was 1, 2, or 3 tablespoons in water before I mix it up, or if I could just do a rub of baking.
No baking soda
would
at
do
all.
the same
Just
thing.
skip
How much
that
it
whole
takes
step.
to neutralize it.
Skip that whole step.
Skip it all. Well, that sure makes a difference. I started doing that, I guess about a year ago, that brain octane and apple cider vinegar in the morning. Boy, that makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. They're both really good.
It really does. That's impressive.
Good. Yeah, just skip the baking soda.
I enjoy your show. I really enjoy your show. For all the people who call in on your show about trying to find a shop, good luck with that.
Oh, it's tough.
I had 3 trucks, and I never found one.
I've told the story where I spent a year in running my business in Jacksonville, Florida. When I moved it from Ohio down to Florida, the hub was in Jacksonville. I spent an entire year there and never found a shop. I tried every shop within, probably a 60-mile radius and never found anybody I was happy with. Then they built a new hub in Orlando, so I moved again a year later, and it took me almost an entire year before I finally found a shop in Orlando I was happy with. And they're still there, by the way. So if anybody's in Orlando, Action Mobile and they're not mobile anymore, but they are mobile, but they also have a building. Great shop. John Douglas is the owner. They took care of my trucks for years.
Well, I actually came out of a shop one time with 2 belt tensioners out.
Yeah,
that makes absolutely no sense. Sense. Absolutely no sense.
It's tough, and it's getting harder. It gets harder every year to find good shops.
Well, and they're expensive as hell. I used to go into Volvo and take a $20 bill and put it under my right end.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh no, that kind of stuff helps. Once I develop a relationship with a shop, I do a lot of that kind of stuff. Take all the mechanics, pizzas at lunch, and I do a lot of that. Hey, I'm going to move along. Got a busy day today. We still have a lot of calls, and they're coming in. I'll stay here as long as you've got questions, or until I think I'm only going to go to 10 today. I got a lot going on. I got to get ready for the space, and I've got some other things. Let's go to California this time. Jerry, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kevin. Hey, I really appreciate your show. I've been in IT for the last 25 years. Got let go because of COVID, middle management, and nobody wants a 57-year-old washed up IT guy. So I said, screw it. I love driving.
Sheesh.
Uh-huh.
People don't want experience? That's crazy.
Now, admittedly, I moved to Yakima. I'm actually up in your neck of the woods. I'm up in Washington, and I moved to where my grandkids are. So I'm in a smaller town, but I've submitted applications even to be a service desk tech, and nothing. I got a few nibbles. That's it.
Wow.
So I said, screw it. I love driving. So I went out, got my CDL. I'm working for one of the mega carriers.
Oh, good for
you. I actually love it. But I love listening to podcasts, and I found your podcast. And one item of feedback, just overall, is you say, if you are listening to us through the app, just hit the button. You never, that I heard, you never mention what app.
Oh.
I was listening to you through multiple different podcast programs, Microsoft's, and then a couple other ones. And so I listened. I never could get when you were actually on, because you'd be like, yeah, listen to us through the app. What app?
Yeah, I guess that would help. So it's the Let's Truck app. Well, even then, I have to be a little more specific, because we do have multiple apps, but it's the AudioRoad. Yeah, you're right. It would help if I told people which app. I guess I'm figuring at that point, if they're listening to me live, then they're on the app. Except that's not even true now, because we live stream video to 6 different sites.
Yeah. But anyway, I was listening to your conversation with Dr. Barry, and I love that. I've already downloaded and read/listened to, using Audible, lies your doctor told you, and 50 what he wrote it, it's with another guy, 50 past 50 and kicking butt, or something along those lines. And then I listened to the interview with the doctor that wrote Eat the Yolks. That's the book I'm about halfway through now. Just in the past week and a half, I'm heading towards carnivore, but I keep on hearing about like Cardio Miracle and Brain Fuel and these supplements, but it seems like, and this is from somebody, I've been listening to you for like 3 months now, or 2 months, driving for like 3 months. And I'm unclear as to, I hear from one source, like Dr. Berry will say, and I think you've said as well, I don't want to put words into your mouth, that the only thing you need, you get from red meat, from the core of the perfect human diet. You get from, so I'm unclear as to when you would use like Cardio Miracle or stuff like that. If
you
see where I'm heading with that?
If you were just listening earlier, I've said that, look, there are lots of practitioners out there that have a standard set of supplements that they just recommend right from the start. There are others that, depending on what the situation is, I just take a slightly different approach because I find that food always works better than supplements. So my approach is let's focus on the diet first and then supplement if necessary. And if necessary, shows up in our results and our symptoms. And I can tell you one of the common things we see almost across the board is that when somebody switches from the standard American diet to a proper human diet somewhere on the scale, like I think Dr. Berry describes this better than anybody. He has his proper human diet, and then he has a range. Is that, mostly paleo, or is it hardcore carnivore, all the way down to what now they call the lion diet, which is beef, salt, and water. You don't consume anything else. So that it's a pretty big range, but it's all real food. What we find is when somebody switches, we see symptoms like a lot of muscle cramping. Well, that's a clear indication we either have a deficiency of some minerals or we have an unbalanced mineral intake. And it's very common. The best reason I can come up with it is what we've done to our soil. We've depleted it of all these minerals. It's just been stripped because of all the chemical farming. And then we feed those same products to the animals, and I see a mineral deficiency across the board. Now, if you were raising all of your own plant foods in a very regenerative garden and consuming those, and all of your animal products were super high quality coming from regenerative farms, and you weren't eating foods with anti-nutrients, and one of the problems, almonds, we eat a lot of almonds on these diet, almond flour products. Those have lectins and phytates that are anti-nutrients, so they will bind to minerals and carry them out of the body. If you could fix all those problems and you're eating the perfect diet, maybe we wouldn't need to supplement minerals. But I find about 90+% of the people eventually say, well, I'm getting some cramping, I'm getting some muscle twitching. Those are signs of mineral imbalance. So light balance just became a daily for me. I just take it every day. If I don't, I start to get some of those symptoms, especially in the summer when I'm sweating a lot. In fact, sometimes in the summer, I have to add another form of magnesium. Cardio Miracle came about because, for some reason, we're still not able to figure out why, many people who switch to the proper human diet cure almost everything. We talk about it. Brain fog goes away, you lose weight, your joint pain goes away, you get stronger, you don't have muscle pain, eczema goes away, skin conditions, our blood sugar's under control. We check everything. There's one thing that pretty consistently doesn't resolve completely, and it's high blood pressure. Well, I've seen people be on a really good, clean diet for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and their blood pressure is still elevated. So we started looking for a solution. We actually created our own product. We were getting ready to launch it. We had the samples here Everything was ready to go.
I remember you mentioning that on the call with the
John.
creator of Cardio Miracle. Yeah.
It was funny that day. I had just found one of those sample bottles, and remembered.
Right.
Yeah, boy, we spent a lot of time and money on this, but we had to drop it. Cardio Miracle was so much better. So Cardio Miracle became a daily because we see benefits from it. But I will still tell people, start with nothing. Let's do 30 days with just food and see what symptoms show up. And if something shows up and we know how to supplement to fix it, we will then.
So that's awesome. Okay, that helps a lot. I think you'll get a chuckle out of this. I know my doctor. I've known him for a long time. He's recommended to my wife the Mediterranean diet, so he's got a ways to go. And I ended up buying him the book, The Lies My Doctor Told Me.
Oh, good.
And giving it to him, trying to help prime the pump for when I get back into town to talk with him about getting a continuous glucose monitor and getting the right blood tests and stuff like that. But for the time that I'd known him, I'm 6'1". At the time when I first started seeing him, I was like 380 pounds. Now I'm down to about 320.
Wow!
But
congratulations!
I'm a big guy. Yeah. And he said, you are the healthiest fat person I know. And the only reason why he felt comfortable saying that is because we knew each other.
Yeah.
He would not say something.
Well, I said
because my triglycerides are in the 70s.
Excellent.
My blood pressure is last time I took had it taken was 115 over 68.
What was your HDL?
HDL was in the 70s, I think.
Excellent. So you are correct. You have good markers so far. It's interesting because it is rare, but I've had two really healthy fatties on the show today. And it's rare. It is, but I'll agree with your doctor.
It is.
Yeah.
The nurse, when she takes my blood pressure, she always has to take it. They always take it twice or three times because they're expecting it to be much higher than it is. And I'm going, no, that's right. She goes, is it normally this low? I go, yeah, normally.
Now, one of the other things we sometimes get concerned about, and it may not be what's going on with you at all, but once in a while, if I see low blood pressure when I don't expect it, somebody who's overweight, maybe hasn't cleaned up their diet completely, then we start looking at there are some problems that can cause low blood pressure.
Okay.
This term gets thrown around a lot. It's not completely correct, but we sometimes refer to a condition as adrenal fatigue. And what it is your body has been pumping out so many stress hormones because our life is pretty stressful that you just kind of wear yourself out. It's like drinking 10 cups of coffee a day to keep yourself awake. Your body just keeps dumping stress hormones to keep you alert and active, and you kind of wear yourself out, and that can eventually cause low blood pressure.
Okay. Huh. Okay. I don't think that I'm very stressed. I'm probably one of the least stressed people I know.
That may be the reason for your low blood pressure. That may very well be the reason for your low blood pressure is your body isn't pumping out these stress hormones all the time.
But I know that I've got to clean up my diet. My A1C was at 2 or 3 years ago was at like 10.6.
Okay,
Jerry. The last time I had it.
Stop.
Yeah.
I'm going to take back everything I said. You're not at all healthy.
Okay.
You're not.
No, I know I'm not healthy.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just I've got. but I'm down to 7.4.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
it is heading the right direction.
Good.
But I know I've got diabetes type 2. I know that this is one of the reasons why I'm looking into this and heading that direction, is because I realize I know I need to do that. I want to be around for my grandkids, and what has been working, well, what I've been trying hasn't been working. Put it that way.
Okay.
And so it's got to be. I've got to change. I got to change what I'm doing. So the reading the book, The Lies My Doctor Told Me, was a true eye opener on some of the common myths that. And listening to your show I joined the tribe, and I didn't realize the coaching was covering health issues as well.
Yeah.
So I will probably end up doing that as well. But I know that I've got to change.
That's the most important part of all this. When somebody, two things, when they say, I know I have to change, and they find all of the, I'm going to call it alternative solutions and diets, when we really shouldn't call it the alternative. The standard American diet is the alternative and the experiment, and it's been a horrible failure. Yeah, for thousands and thousands of years, we did not eat ultra-processed food. We did not eat grains. We ate mostly animals and a few plants to fill in here and there, and we were outrageously healthy. We didn't have all these cancers. We didn't have all these metabolic diseases. So when somebody understands that we have been lied to about everything that involves your health, about salt, about fat, about grains, about sunscreen, about activity, I could just go on and on and on. It is so bad how wrong we got all this stuff. The good news is, once you accept it, and it sounds like you have, once you accept that there is truth out there, we do know this, then the rest is just doing the work.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. I mean, it's hard to find some days, but it's out there. And once you accept that it is the truth, then you'll get the same results everybody else gets. And that's what it comes down to for me. Forget all the research and the testing and this report and that clinical study. And you can buy any result you want in any clinical study you want. So you can't really use those as proof of much of anything anymore. The proof for me is now 10 years of results. Watching this stuff work over and over and over, and it really does work.
Yep. I agree. I have listened, obviously not as long as some of your real long-time listeners, but for the last 3 or 4 months, you have a convert, we'll say.
Good.
So, yeah. Oh, and they're never it's going to be Kamala, because she's too weak, and the cabinet is too weak to invoke the 25th Amendment. So they're going to, he's going to stay in for the rest of the time, even though he shouldn't. Just as a sideline.
Well, there's no doubt. Look, he shouldn't have ran. Really, we identified this. When I say we, anybody with half a brain that was paying attention realized before this election he was in decline. He was seriously in cognitive decline, and they hid it from us. They lied to us about it until they couldn't lie anymore. And now it's obvious he shouldn't have ran. So we shouldn't even be in this position, but we are. And now nobody seems to know what is possible or allowable, or we're in a place we've never been before. So right now it looks like it's Kamala, but there's a lot of talk that they're going to run another primary.
He would have secured his legacy if he just had at the appropriate time just said, you know, I said I was going to be a one-term president.
Right.
I accomplished my goal. I kept that devil out of here. Trump wasn't, I beat Trump, and now I'm going to pass it on to Kamala and let her flounder. But he would have secured. He would have been.
Well,
he would have been on the speaker tour.
Yes,
everything.
You're right. But here's it's worse than that. He can't just hand it to Kamala. I can't even remember how you're supposed to pronounce her name anymore because I hear her pronounce it different ways. So I get confused every time I have to say her name. But here's the thing. She doesn't get it automatically. She would have been in the primary. Joe wouldn't have been in the primary. And the voters could have decided who they want the next president to be. The problem with her now is
exactly
she has never really won an election. I know she has, but it when you look at her history and how poorly she performs, it's shocking that she ever got to be vice president, period. She couldn't win her own state in the primaries. She didn't get a single
I was listening
delegate.
to one news report, and they said she has never won any primary votes. In fact, undecided has won more primary votes than she did.
Right. So at least had he just not ran the second time, then she would have had to have earned this position. Now she's just got to be handed it. And if she turns out to be the nominee and they don't do some sort of a primary, that's really wrong. But now I don't even know if it's legal for them to run a primary.
Right. They're in uncharted water, so they're just going to make up their own rules, and everybody and disenfranchise what 30? How many was it? 30 million people or whatever voted for Biden.
As bad as it's going to be for the country,
or whatever.
Yeah, 15, I think, is the number I've heard. 14 or 15. They're just toast. I mean, their vote doesn't mean a thing anymore. And look, he's got to go.
Right.
I'm not saying he shouldn't go. He's got to go. He shouldn't even be there. But they created this mess. Now we have to figure out a way out. I know it would be really, really bad for the country if she somehow manages to be president. But you know what, in my mind, is actually worse? And this will probably piss some people off. But here's what's going to be worse for me. I've actually been looking forward to the first female president. And it will be a shame if she happens to be the first female president because she didn't earn it. She doesn't deserve it. She's not qualified for it. I would love to see some really impressive woman become president. It's certainly not her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there are some women out there that I think would be up for the task.
Sure. I thought Tulsi Gabbard
but
was
not
awesome.
just because they're women.
Right. You know what? She was running as a Democrat, and I said when she was running, I'd vote for Tulsi. Not against a Republican, but if I were voting in the primaries, she would have gotten my vote.
I really like her. I really do. She's got some good views on most items. Yeah.
Well, in reality, she really would be what we would have called a classic liberal or a classic Democrat. But the party's moved so far left, she had to leave it.
Yep. I agree 100%. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I really appreciate, again, all that you do, especially for free, but all that you do. And I look forward to hearing more and
excellent
calling in again. And if you need IT help, you can get a hold of me. I know a guy.
Can I keep you on the phone a couple more minutes? You just reminded me of something I wanted to talk about since you're in IT. So this CrowdStrike outage. I've been trying to do as much research as I possibly can, and I know a little bit about programming and IT. I'm not directly involved, but I basically run an IT company. I mean, we are very, very invested. Everything we do is web-based. This show is all web-based. Our software, we have 2 software programs, fuel gauges and profit gauges, all IT. We have several apps. I know what rolling out updates is all about. We've had our share of issues when you roll out an update. But from everything I've been able to research, and I've done a pretty deep dive into this, there is absolutely no way any IT company would have rolled out an update like this.
No, I totally agree. When I was running, I was the director of infrastructure and operations for a $1 billion market cap company. I built out the backbone network for 300 bases all throughout the United States to securely report back to a brand new infrastructure in Denver, Colorado. That was all mine, and I had computers set aside specifically for updates. And I used an outsourced partner that I trusted. They would push updates to these computers, and as soon as they were released, because they got released early, we used this application called SCCM or SCCM. Sorry.
Yep.
It's a software. It's a Microsoft software management, and it does a whole lot of other stuff, but software management, rolling out updates is one of the things that it can do. But I would roll it to those first. Then I would have, I have virtual machines. I was 99% virtual. So I was running 300 or 400 plus servers,
right?
All virtualized. And I had virtual servers in there. I had physical servers, and I would run updates on them prior to going out into production. Then I would have them, quality checked, QA'd.
Yep.
After that, then I would have them run on non-mission critical. Our core applications, if they were down, had a roughly $75,000 an hour worth of loss if our core systems went down.
Right.
So it was important to get that right. They talk about the secret service being a zero. Zero loss. Whatever their verbiage is. They got to get it right every time. We had to get it right every time.
And from what I understand now, and I've done like I said, I've been around it. I've seen a lot of these processes, and you just described some of them. But from what I can gather, there is a rigorous system that's been put in place over the years and upgraded and improved, designed to do one thing: make sure that updates are solid. And when there are mistakes, they should be minor and fixable pretty quickly. Yep. And from what I can gather from a lot of really intelligent people who know this stuff, and they came from across the board politically. So it wasn't like I was, only reading this on hardcore libertarian sites or something. It wasn't political, but everybody agreed. There is no way in today's system any company would roll out an update like that.
I totally agree. I would have been fired for doing something like this. This is unacceptable. Somebody should be fired over this.
And from what I understand, even that, it's almost like they take the same approach as like our government. 3 branches, totally separate, checks and balances. There wouldn't be one person to fire because one person is almost never given this kind of control.
Yep. Yeah, it would have gone through a tab board, change application board. It would have gone through several levels. Yeah. No, nothing. This should not have happened. I totally agree.
Yeah, that worries me.
Yeah, for something this important and taking down companies like Bank of America, which is our, bank of record.
Right.
I used to work for Bank of America. I was a senior analyst for Bank of America, and they would lose well, they wouldn't, they called it a loss, but we had a slowdown in our data processing systems that didn't get money deposited into the Fed, and they calculated a $240 million loss just because they couldn't get the money to the Fed to get the overnight rate. And they were just like, yeah, that's a kind of a rounding error for us.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I know. It's a crazy time. Hey, Jerry, great talking to you.
Yeah, you're right, though. It should not have happened.
I thought
All right,
so.
I will let you go.
Thanks for thanks for your opinion on that. I appreciate it. Let's go to Virginia. Charlie, welcome.
Hello.
What's on your mind
What's
today?
the latest in tires? Tires.
All right.
I had a Michelin pop last night.
Okay.
I want to get 8. What's the latest Michelin, you know?
Oh, no, actually I don't. Tires are something I used to keep up on a lot. Like I could rattle off, here's the lowest rolling resistance in this class and this size. And hell, I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the name changes Michelin has made in their tire lines. I would have to go to the calculators and just start running numbers.
Yeah, well, I can't find. I mean, I was thinking the double coin. I can get them reasonable at home, but in Suka, whoever they are, I can't pronounce it. But we used to use those where I worked at the chemical company, and they were very close. But I can't find the ones they have now on the chart in the Michelin thing.
That's not a good sign. If Michelin's not testing their tires, there's probably a reason why they're not. I'm just not a fan of anything beyond second tier. You know, for me, first tier, it's going to be a Michelin almost always. I'm just that happy with Michelin and always have been. And the extra cost when you look at it as a per mile over the life of the tire is almost meaningless. So third tier
but I'm
tires.
getting old, Kevin.
Yeah, I know, but more important. I mean, why deal with junk as we get older? Why not just buy the good stuff?
I know. I just figured, a couple more years, and I can buy my new Volvo.
Yeah. No, this would be something at this point I would really have to work with somebody on a coaching call. Because I just don't have time to go try to relearn all these tires and numbers again. It was just too much to keep up with.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at what we can get it to. Well, sorry, for the Michelins is twice as much as the other ones.
Well, like I said,
I know this. I know.
I've seen Michelin drive tires go 400,000 miles. When you look at the cost, it's almost nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to go straight tread all around. That's what we had.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, I can help you with that then. If that's the case, you don't really need to worry about rolling resistance. On a ribbed tire, they're almost all somewhere between 100 and 115. More like they're almost all somewhere between 100 and 110. They're all so close on the ribbed tires today that it probably won't matter. If you're looking at cost as your more important factor, find a tire you like that you can get with a decent cost and buy it. You're looking for 10 then. You told me you were looking for, maybe you don't need steer tires right now.
Well, the front is 11Rs because it had the big super singles on the back. And when I blew one out in Florida, soon after I had the truck, I couldn't find one, and I wanted to switch anyway. So I had wheels, and I have 8.
Oh, got it. All right.
So, yeah. They're low pros, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about rolling resistance. Find a tire you like at the right price and buy it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for the call. Let's go to Ohio. John, welcome.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Doing good. I hear you've got some advice for me.
I do. I've got a couple John Deere 318 mowers They're, like 1986, 1985.
Okay.
The only belts you can run on John Deere's have to be John Deere belts.
Really?
They use a special taper on their belts. If you try anything else, they just break and fly off.
That's my experience. The slightest little obstruction and I break a belt.
Yep. So they use a special taper on them. So try you got a local John Deere dealer there?
I'm sure. Well, local is relative. I probably have to go into Portland or Vancouver, which I try to avoid. But I'm to the point where I'm either going to have to go to a dealer so I can look at a deck and a parts list and figure out how to get my brakes working right again. But I can even live without the blade brake. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But I'm buying belts by the case these days, and I got to stop. I'm just tired of changing these damn belts. So what I might do is if I can just buy a John Deere belt online, I may try that.
Yeah, John Deere, I think you can order John Deere parts on their website.
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
But I went through the same thing. Fortunately, I can see the John Deere dealer from my shop, and we tried the Tractor Supply and that stuff, and they just don't last. And they told me, well, we use a special taper. So must fit their grooves.
It'd be nice if somebody actually, like I've been all over websites, I've been all over forums trying to figure out, nobody's ever said anything about this belt.
Yeah.
So I'm
biggest
on.
problem I have keeping the bearings in the spindles because they never put no grease exerts on the spindles.
Well, I've replaced both spindles.
Yeah.
And I have Zerk fittings, and I've greased them before. They were already greased when I got them, but I greased them again to make sure. So the spindles are all fine. Blades spin beautifully. There's no obstructions anywhere. The only thing I can't get rebuilt because I just can't find all the right parts are the blade brakes themselves. So like I say, even when you first start it up, the blades won't spin. But once you engage the blades, then you can try to disengage them all you want, and they don't stop spinning. I can live with that. I'm just tired of these belts breaking constantly.
Yeah. Can you take that brake off and just throw it away?
That's kind of that's almost what's happening now. I mean, that the spring doesn't pull them back into to make the brake work. So they're there, but they're not doing much of anything.
Yeah. Yep, I would just try the belts. And on another note,
so here's what I'm finding. Here's what I'm finding online. When I look up parts online for John Deere, I just found the part. I found a belt from John Deere. It's sending me to a dealer to get it.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's giving me the closest to me, and I was correct. It's going to be in Vancouver. I'd rather go to Vancouver than Portland, so...
well, maybe they'll call them up. Maybe they'll ship it to you.
Yeah, they might. I may just drive down there anyway, so maybe they'll have a better parts list for this thing if I take them the serial number and I can try to figure out. I would like to get the brakes working again. I would like to have a fully functioning mower deck and everything working the way it should be. And I've replaced every part on the deck except the deck itself. All the spindles are new. All the pulleys are new. The springs that I could find are all new. It's just the damn brakes. So if I could, and I know I'm just missing parts. I just can't figure out what parts they're supposed to be. So maybe when I'm on my vacation, I'll just take a drive down there.
Yeah, my local John Deere guy, he's pretty good. They'll actually print you out the exploded view of that mower deck and with all the part numbers.
That's what I need. And I've tried to find it online, and I'm pretty good at this kind of stuff, and I have been just frustrated. So
Yeah.
I think I need to go find one of those good parts guys.
Yeah, because when they pull it up on their computer, all the explosions there, just having printed.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
When I have found those, they turn out to be the wrong one. I've tried using the serial numbers. I've tried all kinds of things, and it's amazing how many slightly different configurations they've had over the years.
Oh yeah. What model John Deere do you have?
It's a D130.
Is it a diesel?
No, it's not. That's what I thought when I saw the D on there. I got excited. I thought it was going to be a diesel, but it's not. It's a smaller gas, 42-inch deck. It's not a real big one.
Yeah. Like I said, mine's the old 318. It's a regular garden tractor, but it's only an 18-horse owning. And
I think this is 21 horse, if I remember right. I think it's 21. It's a nice little mower. I mean, other than the mower deck, I like everything about it, but this mower deck's just making me crazy.
I know. I went through that with the owning motor on mine. The daggone thing, you'd be out there mowing, all of a sudden it would stop. The time you got your test equipment out there to test the thing would run, it was a bad pickup coil for the ignition underneath the flywheel.
Yeah, I was going to guess that I had a problem with a car one time. It would start up just fine. Right about the same amount of time into your drive, it happened at about 15 minutes. The car would just stall.
Yep.
It would just stall. And you'd be on the side of the road and you'd start troubleshooting it. And in the middle of troubleshooting it, if you just hit the key, it would start up again. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? You know what it was? It was dirt in the fuel tank. The local gas station had replaced their tanks, and they replaced them because they couldn't get all the dirt out of them. And what would happen is after a certain amount of time, it would suck up enough dirt that it would clog the filter. And then when you park, the dirt would fall back off again, and eventually it would start again.
I had that on a farm tractor. It was rust in the tank.
Yeah.
And it would do the same thing.
Yep.
So, but hey, on another note, max mileage, unbelievable. I've got a Class A motorhome with a V10 in it.
Yeah.
Made no changes on anything. Started running the max mileage. I picked up a half a mile a gallon.
You know, we don't talk about it as being an improvement in fuel mileage, but it can be. On some vehicles, it absolutely improves fuel mileage. The biggest benefit I got from it, my coach, I did notice a performance difference, runs better. But what I really noticed was I have an aqua hot heating system for all the water.
Yeah.
And it's diesel fired. Yeah. So it heats up the water that heats up the coach. It can heat up water that keeps the engine warm in the wintertime. It's all your hot water for the shower, which is unlimited. If I'm hooked up to water, I have unlimited hot water in my coach. I can take a shower for an hour if I want, which I absolutely love. But that aqua hot system was my biggest headache of all. I have done nothing but work on that thing, constantly putting in new filters, new parts. I let them rebuild the whole system completely. Sometimes it would work fantastic. Other times it just doesn't want to work at all. And it was making me crazy. And I started putting the catalyst in just to try the catalyst. And at one point I realized my AquaHot is working perfectly, and it has been for months. And I was actually down at David Count's Fleet Air Filter, and he's got a huge RV shop down there. And I was telling him about it. He said, Kevin, he said, I could have swore I told you this, but he said, we recommend it for everybody with an AquaHot. It's the single most important thing you can do to keep that AquaHot running correctly.
Yeah, it's unbelievable stuff. And I've got a Kubota that I mow with now. At idle, they had a tendency to vibrate. takes the vibration out of that Kubota motor. Unbelievable.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. Just makes everything run better. As Bruce and Dr. James says, it's wonderful stuff. Even with the, like Bruce says, put it in the chainsaw or the weed eater. You better just hang on.
I know. I haven't tried that yet, but I may. So we'll see. All right, John, thanks for the heads up on that. I appreciate it. And I'm going to go find me some genuine John Deere belts. Let's go to Illinois. Dale, welcome.
Hi, Kevin.
What's on your mind today?
I know you told me to give you a call on our next coaching, but I had a question.
Sure.
I did talk to my father last night. It kind of went as I expected it, but I can get into details on that on the coaching. But
okay,
I'm still conflicted about everything. But I did get the information that I've been wanting on the business side of things. So I guess I just don't know where. I guess I don't know. I need advice, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Because now my sister got me the information, and I know that was one thing that you said to ask for. So where do I kind of navigate things now as far as...
Well, and that's why I said it doesn't have to be an ultimatum. We can give them some next steps. We don't just have to go in and say, I'm done, I'm out of here. And it sounds like they're at least trying to cooperate. And this is the most important factor, that since we've been working with you, both Aaron and I, we don't have accurate numbers. It's kind of like, shooting in the dark. We might hit something, we might not. We've had a couple wins, but I think we could do much better if we had some numbers to work with. So if she's providing the information, I would hang in at least until we get a chance to analyze it all.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I didn't want to disappoint you or anything, but that's kind of how I was feeling after.
Oh no, I'm absolutely glad you did that. That was the right thing to do. Maybe they just needed a wake up call, and you gave it to them. And I can't imagine that was an easy conversation to have. So congratulations on doing it and addressing it. And I think you did exactly what you should have done.
Well, it's not a conversation, I like to have, especially with my dad being 85. He don't need that shit. But he needs to hear me.
Yeah, I know it was going to be hard, and I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad this is the result. It gives us something to work with.
Well, I'm starting to feel a lot better with things, because I was worried about how this talk with you was going to to go.
Well, let me tell you where I am on this, just so you know.
Okay.
Today, right now, with everything I know, my absolute hope is we can dig into those numbers, fix some things. They go along with us, and maybe they push back, maybe they fight a little bit. But if we can just keep moving forward, my absolute goal is to keep you and the family business intact if there's any way of doing it.
Okay. I like that. I would like that to happen too. But I mean, if it doesn't, then I am ready to. I have made my mind up.
And here's the other thing.
I just want to give it my all.
And that's about what I was going to say. Here's the other thing. We try everything we can possibly try. They've given us some more information. We have another avenue. And if it doesn't work out, like I said, my goal 100% is to keep you and the family business intact and turn it around and make it successful like it used to be. If that can't happen, my second goal is I want to make sure you and with our help tried everything possible before you walk away.
I like that, and I agree 100%.
Good, good.
You're kind of relieving a little bit of stress I was kind of feeling after talking after the talk yesterday. So
well, good. I'm glad that we've got a possible path to follow here. So we can dive deeper into the details on Thursday. Then we can start crunching numbers, and then we may have some answers.
that sounds perfect. Then that's all I wanted to run by in. That's what I was kind of leaning toward myself. So
good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Relax and don't sweat it. We're in a better place now than we were a week ago.
Yes, we are. I think.
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
All right. Well, then I will leave you at that then, and we'll touch base Thursday then.
Perfect. Talk to you then. Well, and again, congratulations. I know that was a really, really difficult thing to do. Let's go to Texas. Brian, welcome.
Good morning, Kevin. I want to apologize for, I guess, not being a little bit more involved with the coaching. I was signed up, and then I went through a couple sessions with you. You gave me some suggestions, and it's just kind of taken me a few months to get some things in place.
Well, that's okay.
But the last we spoke, I was trying to get myself into an individual 401k.
Right.
And I asked you about a company called the Census. And after that phone call with you, I think it was Matt, maybe some other people called in, and they just kind of talked about maybe just concentrating on the fee structure and the funds that are available in whoever is the custodian of the plan.
Right.
So I did that. I looked into this census, and I was impressed, being that they kind of took it over from Vanguard. They have a plan that is a Vanguard-only fund, and it's self-managed. They only charge $20 a year per person, plus a $20 a year fee for each fund that you are in. So it'd be $40 a year, which I felt was very reasonable.
Well, are those the only fees?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are those the only fees, or are there some sort of management fees within the funds that are a percentage?
Well, as far as I know, they are the only fees, is the way I understand it, because I'm turning around and investing in Vanguard funds.
Well, I know, but almost every fund I've ever seen has an ongoing management fee. Now, they look really small. We've talked about this. They're fractions of a point. Like it might be 0.035. But there is an expense in there somewhere.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is because it's really unusual to have these flat fees. So I'm wondering, are those flat fees on top of my expenses, or are they replacing my expenses?
Well, it would be on top of, the fund itself would have what they would call the expense ratio.
Right. And then they're putting a new fee on top of that.
Yes, $40 a year.
Well, I know, but I don't normally pay that. If I went straight to Vanguard, I don't pay $40 a year.
True.
And look, if I've got a couple 100,000, you know, it at some point it's going to be a very, very minor fee, but I'm wondering why it's even there.
Well, yeah, I guess, I mean, just to kind of do the custodial organizing of the government side of the being an or a retirement, I would assume.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, it's
anyway. I guess I was kind of I was comfortable with that fee structure, I guess.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
then the next step, the next step I went into, and I looked at the list of funds that I can get into, and a lot of them are target dated funds, and I was looking for just something more of the straight S&P 500, and they do offer two of them in there that are labeled as that.
Do you have the
so
symbols?
Took the next step and did a year-to-date return on them and compared it to what I currently have in some of my funds at Vanguard, and they're like significantly less.
Do you have the? Do you have the?
Like, well, this.
Do you have the symbols for these two funds?
Yes.
Can you give them to me real quick?
Yep. Victor Frank, Igloo, Apple X-ray.
Okay.
Or a Victor Tom Sam Apple X-ray.
Okay, let me look real quick and see if I can tell anything about these. B I A X. All right, let me see what this one's all about. Vanguard. Okay, there's all I really needed to know, and I thought the I in there was probably telling me it is an index fund. It is a 500 index fund. Let me check real quick. I mean, it's designed just to track the S&P 500.
Yep.
So historically, I don't worry necessarily about right now. You said that this one is underperforming a couple other funds you have. Have you looked at those funds historically over time?
I guess those two, no. I don't.
Well, and here's
I didn't
why-
have those notates. I've been comparing it to just a basic VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500.
Is it different? Because according to their description, it shouldn't be.
That's what I was. I wouldn't. Right, I wouldn't think, but the return is.
So this is another one of those situations where I'm trying the best I can, on a limited amount of time on a phone call, and I'm trying to talk and I'm trying to look things up at the same time. To me, it looks like this should be just an S&P 500. But if you're telling me the results are different, then I'm going to have to dig in a lot better. I mean, right now, it's showing a year to date of over 15% return.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't know. Maybe my search was off. I had 11, but
no, I'm showing.
Well, then that is comparable to the VO.
Yeah, year to date, and this is about what the S&P has been doing this year. So year to date, it's showing 15.27%.
Okay, and what do you see as like since inception?
I'm trying to find
or
it. Yeah, I'm trying to find. Oh, historical data. Here we go. Let me see how to work this chart now. Historical prices. No, that's not what I want. Historical. Let's do a 5-year. Yeah, this chart's not working the way I thought it would work. This is what I mean. Sometimes when I'm on the air and I have to talk and try to maintain this thing like it's some sort of a radio show, I can't find in this chart where I can just pick a 5-year period or a 10-year period and see, oh, wait a minute, let me try this.
I understand. Yep.
Yeah, no, that didn't do it either. Yeah, the results I'm getting trying to sort this just aren't even making sense, so I must be doing something wrong. I would just need a little more time, but I have a feeling this is just a pretty standard S&P 500 index.
Yeah, okay, so that's the one that I've been narrowing in on.
Yeah, no, I think this one should be fine.
Yep. Okay, another quick question if possible.
Sure.
I currently have my wife on payroll. So I run an S corp, and I have my wife on payroll just for
wait a minute.
the accounting and bill paying.
I just found it. At least one number, the 5-year average return, 14.93%.
Oh, yeah. Good with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. The S corp, and you've got your wife.
Yeah, wife. Yeah, wife does all the clerical bookkeeping at home, and I have her on a payroll. Considering, is it really necessary, or would I be? Is she reaping any benefit of it? Because at one time we thought it would be beneficial for her Social Security, but her income is so low that when it comes time for her Social Security, she'd probably be going against mine anyways, or however that works.
So there are reasons to put spouses on payroll, but if there isn't a reason, then we shouldn't do it because it just adds to our cost. And in my opinion, Social Security is not a good reason to do it. What I would much rather see you do is take a look at everything you have to invest into Social Security. 15.3% of everything she earns, you are contributing to Social Security. Take that money and contribute it to your own S&P 500 fund and be done with it. Because she will do far better with that money herself than she'll ever do with Social Security. Here is the one reason, and there are more, but they get a little weird. This one is fairly straightforward. If health insurance was an issue and we wanted to make health insurance tax deductible, which it's not currently. It's not tax deductible as a business expense. Somebody's out there screaming at their phone, oh, I deduct my health insurance on my tax return. Yes, you do, but you deduct it as a personal expense, not a business expense, and there's a big difference. The law doesn't allow us to deduct it as a business expense. But what we can do, we can set a spouse up as an employee. If we pay for our employee's health insurance, then it is tax deductible as a business expense, and then she puts you on her policy. And then we get to deduct both of your health insurance. That's about the only method that actually makes sense.
Oh, okay, and glad you brought that up because that is exactly how we do it. I was actually going through my profit gauges over the weekend again, looking at the first half of the year, and went into insurance because it seemed high, and then that is because our health insurance is in there as well,
right?
And it's to her, and then I'm on her policy.
Perfect.
Yeah, and her salary is, it's minimal considering
that
she puts in minimal hours. It basically enters my
that's the goal.
Yeah,
you want to pay her
and,
just enough to get by. That's it. We want to pay her the minimum we can get away with paying her, and it sounds like you might be doing that. So it sounds to me like you've got this set up really well.
Yeah. And then also another thing that I got going on with my business is, so I pay rent to myself or to a separate entity as I own a shop.
Oh, perfect.
And I rent that shop from another entity that is mine.
Yep.
And I use that money. There's another way to kind of channel. So even all in all, with everything that's going on, I think I'm been very happy. I'm still very profitable.
Good. No, you've got this set up about the best way you could set it up.
Yeah, like I said, the next thing was just to get honed in on this individual 401k, which will allow me taller or larger contributions. I have a lot of depreciation for 2024, so I'm going to make a very high Roth contribution because I don't need the tax deduction. Yeah.
Excellent. Now you've got this figured out.
Well, a lot of hours and years of listening to you, my friend. I remember you back in 2007. I have always been wanting to comment about. Remember the days when you used to blow people up?
I do. Maybe I should bring that back. Although,
people would call in and you'd say, I'm driving my Peterbilt 379 with a Caterpillar, and also.
I gave that up. One of the reasons I don't get nearly as many people who want to disagree with me about much of anything anymore. So there just aren't as many opportunities to blow people up as there used to be.
Yeah. But yeah, that dates us back, I guess.
Oh, that you go a ways back, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I met my first XM stereo antenna was that real long spear-looking thing with the big knob on the top of it back in about 2000.
Yeah, you've been at this
or
a while.
Something like that. It was crazy. Yeah. And speaking of that, there's times where I think to myself, I'm nothing but a truck driver, and I'm out here. I don't have a college education. I'm fairly mechanically inclined, but there's days where I just think I'm leading a dead-end life. I've just been out here just driving around, and then I hear of people like the IT guy who has had a different career and wants to come into our
industry. To drive, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, okay, maybe we are doing something right out here.
I miss driving. I mean, it's why I own the coach and why I don't usually fly if I can avoid it. I'd much rather get in the coach and drive 6,000 miles to do a trip. The biggest problem is I also don't want to be away from home all the time, especially in the summertime. But I'd much rather just drive wherever I go.
Yeah,
I miss it. I miss my time on the road.
I'm blessed to be in part of the industry that's not really weight conscious. We have situations where we do see heavy weight. So I have a large, what they call the big bunk semi trucks with the shower and the dinettes and all that stuff. So it's kind of a mixture of a truck and a coach together, and it's a blessing. It just makes life so much more better.
Absolutely,
more enjoyable out here.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got to figure it out. Keep it up.
Okay. Well, thanks for everything you do.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. All right, I'm going to wrap this up today, just a little early. I want to get ready for the space today, and because I had a weird technical issue right at the open again today, I need to go in and make sure I've got everything fixed and ready. So coming up in just a little over an hour, we'll be rolling into our first Fight Club space on X. It's a debate, nothing else. It may work, it may not. We're going to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. Remember, the idea here is not for me to debate everybody. And the idea here isn't just to be right. The idea is so we can learn how to discuss, debate, argue these things that's productive. So we're not just screaming at each other, and then we get so pissed off we start calling each other names, and it all falls apart. So we'll see. It's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. Noon Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. You can listen on the app, or you can join us live on the space itself if you want to participate. We will see you then. Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.